Yo. The date was May 17th, 2016, when YouTuber rebeltaxi made a video criticizing the then brand new Powerpuff Girls 2016 reboot. He talked about why the original series was so beloved and unique, and why the reboot not only missed the mark, but was just really lame in general. It was a pretty simple video, standard fare some may say for a cartoon reviewer here on YouTube, quickly talking about or criticizing the newest hot topic thing. All things considered, you could say the video was just innocuous, falls into the background, just another cartoon review. But then, you would be wrong. For you see, this video, though inoffensive as it may seem, gave rise to a beast. From this video's words on cartoon girls with big googly eyes, awoke he who tolls the bell, he who reaps the crop, the bringer of death himself, all to be judged under his name. Because of rebeltaxi's actions, he and other YouTubers alike were no longer safe. For from the shadows the Grim Reaper himself had been born. And to what was the name of he who should come to judge all those here upon this website? None other than Neros Q.
Introduction because this is dead serious.
So I've got a message out there for every fucking troll with a headset and a copy of modern warfare.
Excuse me, I have some memories I need to repress.
I hate the N-word, and by N-word, I mean nerd, not...
Hello gamer fans, Spax here.
Everyone, I'm so glad you're still watching ADGN after 15 years.
So yeah, after rebeltaxi made a video about Powerpuff Girls 2016, a YouTube channel that was made a few weeks before that called Neros Q decided to respond to this video in the form of his own video, titled Response to Rebeltaxi, New Powerpuff Girls is Good, Critique the Critic with Neros. And in said video, Neros appears to the viewer as this guy in a hoodie, a sort of Grim Reaper mixed with a black mage from Final Fantasy kind of look. And he is here to critique rebeltaxi, because in his opinion, he didn't give the new Powerpuff Girls show a fair shot. And furthermore, he wants to defend that reboot because he actually not only likes it, but seems to think that it's actually way better than the original series in many ways, as he notes throughout this video.
Okay, rebeltaxi, or is it pan pizza? What the heck? Look, someone needs to say something, and I really didn't want to be the one to do it, but I will. Your dislike for the new Powerpuff Girls show is alright, and I respect your opinion. At least that's what I wish I could say. I believe you have given this show an unjust look over and possess a majorly biased opinion on it. I'm going to look at what you got wrong, as I must critique the critic. Let's begin. You haven't really watched the new Powerpuff Girls show, have you? And I mean really watched it. Take off those cheap nostalgia glasses and give it a fair chance. Of course it's not going to be like the original. But you know what? The original wasn't that great. It was a good show, and me and my friends loved growing up with it, but it still has its flaws. For one, the animation was good, and it had its own style, but this show's animation is 100 times better. The animation is fluent, and yes, I think it's a great improvement over Craig McCracken's style. And I don't just mean the original animation, I mean Craig McCracken, the creator style in general.
His commentary goes between basic critique to sort of talking down at rebeltaxi, accusing him of being lazy, not knowing what he's talking about, not doing research, and sort of implying that he's just kind of stupid as well, all while presenting counter-arguments that admittedly do counter some of Rebel's critiques once in a while, but also seems to shit on the original show a fair bit as well, with many of his points just simply being, well, I like the new show better because the old show was just not that good. Something which managed to ruffle quite a lot of feathers in the community, since he basically says that Craig McCracken's art style is awful, and that this newer cartoon series is far better stylistically, which was certainly a hot take to have, if nothing else. But I'd be lying if I said I really cared all that much about the Powerpuff Girls reboot, or what either of these YouTubers had to say on the topic. No, what I find interesting instead is firstly, the strange monotone, then suddenly very erratically emotional, crackly sounding voice of our narrator throughout this video, and what I'm gonna assume is the most passionate defense of this Powerpuff Girls reboot anyone has ever given, all while also randomly shitting on the regular show without any explanation given.
Oh god, morals! What are you trying to teach our kids? Life lessons that'll teach them while also making them feel good about themselves? Oh, how despicable. How dare they? What's wrong with the waffles, waffles, waffles from Teen Titans Go?
You see how your argument seems a little invalid? Why are you so set on assuming they're just copy and paste villains when you're obviously not even paying attention? Geez, was your first reaction like,
what have they done to the show?
It's a reboot that can't stand separate.
You know what? Maybe I agree. It doesn't stand separate. It flies off and excels where the original couldn't. It's a good show. Heck, maybe even a great show. If you can't see that, then my argument that you don't have to watch it is totally true. Just ignore it. I mean, I don't like regular show, but you don't see me picking it apart. I just don't watch it. You know why? I should hope so, because I'm not telling you the obvious answer to that. Unless I have to. Shut up and stay away from this show, because you don't have to watch it by every little meaning of that phrase.
But more importantly, the real reason anyone even knows about this video to begin with is its ending, where Neros, being the god of death he is, gives divine judgment and fucking kills rebeltaxi for his sins against the 2016 Powerpuff Girls reboot.
Fatality.
Now, in the commentary YouTube space, I've definitely seen some pretty crazy videos, some pretty good ones, and some pretty fucking ass ones as well. But one thing I cannot say I've ever seen before is the YouTuber who is making a commentary video on a subject straight up fucking decimating them through animation at the end of it. It's something I didn't even know I wanted, but now I desperately want more of it. But regardless, it certainly was a rather bizarre and kinda crazy choice, and it seemed others agreed, as if you look at the comment section, you'll get people handing out such burns as, quote, "You've dug your own grave. Rest in peace, potentially decent YouTube reputation, 2016 to 2016. You're trying to analyze Pan's video, but all I hear is, the original wasn't that great. This show's animation is 100 times better. Aside from these points, and more, you can still defend the new show without grasping for straws by insulting the original. Lol, the salt pouring out from this video is insane. While I disagree with your claim, I believe the negative points with this show are few and thin. I hope you enjoyed it though. There will be more YouTubers to be critiqued and executed." Unquote. That response being quite quite clear, as a warning, that Neros Q was far from done with his bloody YouTube murder. However, I should also note that some people apparently mass-reported this video at the time as him, killing a YouTuber avatar could kinda be perceived as a threat of sorts, and this actually did make him lose his channel for a short time before it was eventually reinstated. He also made sure to link his Gmail account, Neros Q, in the description for anyone who wishes to quote-unquote tear him a new asshole. Him, at this point, practically begging for people to argue with him about, the Powerpuff Girls reboot. But the thing is, Neros Q was far from done with rebeltaxi, as just a few days later, he would end up making a part 2 to this video, which opens like this.
Pan pizza of rebeltaxi. Oh, you just do not learn. While I didn't want to do this video any more than I did the first, I feel that it's now mandatory of me. Now, this wasn't supposed to be the next video, but I gotta strike while the iron is hot, or something like that. So, let's get going.
I love how he now has a much more posh-sounding tone to his voice. And the addition of him hanging off a chain, peak edge, absolutely pure cinema gold. So Nero starts whacking at rebeltaxi some more, and I must say that the new edgy points and bits of animation here are, well, they're really something else. Like this one, where he showcases just how much he cares about the original Powerpuff Girls cartoon.
I'd like to say something important. Here's how much you should be comparing this to the original. Now here's how much I care about the original. Hopefully that was made crystal clear for you.
Or this corny ass but pretty amazing line and burn on rebeltaxi, not even gonna lie.
Into the toilet I go.
Oh, well, if that's your fetish, then go for it. But I'll be finding the show on my mantle.
Of course, beyond this, much of the video is him taking a clip from rebeltaxi and then countering it in some sort of way like last time, with a few highlights being that he himself doesn't like Bubbles acting like a white girl.
I agree. Yeah, I don't exactly like all the memes, modern humor, and white girlish demeanor she gives off. And why does she have to have that hidden anger thing? It's pretty creepy. She does usually act cutesy and bubbly, but those moments can be pretty distracting. I wish those details really weren't there.
Or the philosophical question of the ethics of the original show.
For profit, Dick creates half-assed clones of the girls to sell to other cities for protection.
I'm glad you brought up this episode. First, they're not really clones, they're more of incomplete Powerpuff Girls. And don't you have a problem with the fact that all these human girls are killed off at the end of the episode? I mean, they may have been made in a factory, but they have been shown to think cognitively. And I think they could have been just as important as any other person. Yet the Powerpuff Girls have no problem with letting all of them die.
Let's go home, girls.
I guess they might not care about them since they were deformed and mentally challenged. But wouldn't that be an insult to the disabled and mentally challenged?
Or this amazing, stunning, brave, glorious scene.
Powerpuff 2016 is just Diet Powerpuff Girls.
I think it's more of a different brand. Like Sprite and Share Mist. They have similarities and differences, but they try to get the same idea across in their own delicious way.
Makes you say, what's the point? Just watch the old show. What's the point? Just watch the old show. Watch the old show. Watch the old show. Watch the old show.
I hate repeating myself. This new show does a lot better than the old show in terms of dialogue, character development, and especially animation.
You better watch out, Pan Pizza. You have angered the Reaper. But the crowning jewel of this already amazing video is of course Nero's final speech that ends up building up into rebeltaxi's second judgment.
There, I proved your full review wrong. Now leave it alone.
You'll learn why more when this review is continued in part 2. Part 2.
God dang it! I don't have much time left in my worthless life to keep doing this. There are other online critics, animators, and so on I need to get to. What else do you need to say about this show?
His baby is ruined. They ruined his 3 babies.
It's not ruined, you twit. Perhaps the butthurt, nostalgia-obsessed fanboys, it's not a good show. But for us that enjoy cartoons for what they are, this is a good show. And any other reviewer out there needs to stop saying the original is better, because this show does not have to be the original. This show has the potential to be better than the original. So thanks for watching, and time for your judgment.
Neros wins. Fatality.
I love the line about having so little time on this earth for this, as if what he's doing is an important mission, his calling to judge and strike down YouTubers, and that by the end, he not only kills Pan in a much more brutal fashion, but it also seems to have been done by a secondary character who has entered the fray, a female version of his avatar, named Neros. Interesting. I'm sure nothing weird at all will come from this character. Now, after these 2 videos, as you might imagine, Neros actually caught the full attention of rebeltaxi himself, and he proceeded to laugh at and sort of live commentate the video in the comment section. I won't bother reading through all of that, but I did find this specific interaction from YouTuber Pie Guy Rules, who is another guy Nuros Q randomly threw shade at during this video.
Oh yeah? Well, I never thought someone who supposedly loves cartoons would totally screw up reviewing one. But enough about Pie Guy Rules. Let's talk about your review.
Critique Neros, and Neros responded in kind. Quote, "It's a shame that you're one of the few commentators that actually gives a crap about visual presentation beyond crappy JPEGs, and yet your arguments are mostly miserable. If you like the new show, great, that's your opinion, but there's a lot about this show that is rubbing people the wrong way, and just because you disagree doesn't make you right. Doesn't bring up any specific details or evidence, and only giving a brief lackluster statement on what he thinks is wrong. A form of grasping at imaginary straws, as it could be called. I had a bit more respect for that comment you would place. Other than that basic one, I guess the blame would be on my end for that though. Oh, sorry. I suppose I'm rambling. Well, I can tell you disagree with my points to some degree, and for that I am disappointed. If you were offended by my points and remarks, then I apologize. But I just hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoy the one about you when it's finished. Neros Q. Unquote. How very ominous. Now the thing is, after rebeltaxi found out about this guy, he really wanted to invite him on his podcast show, the Pizza Party Podcast, and by June 7th, just about a week or 2 later, this would end up happening, meaning within just 2 videos, Neros Q had managed to make his way as a full guest on this podcast show. And so you might be wondering at this point, how did that go? Well, for starters, he uses a voice changer the whole time. Mind you, Neros Q has been doing that to some degree in the last 2 videos as well, but it's much more pronounced here for whatever reason.
There he is, and who's this other person we have today?
Oh, special surprise, it's me, Neros Q, otherwise known as the Edgelord, I suppose.
Oh no, he's here!
Be nice.
Oh,
He's cool.
Okay, Neros, you want to explain what you did publicly?
Well, I simply just,
Simply.
stated how, yes, how you have gotten some things incorrect about this new Powerpuff Girls show. Some people did not like that. A lot of people did. Most people skipped to the end to see, what would happen if I would cut your head off.
Is that in the analytics?
The analytics?
Yeah, if you can actually check which part people skip forward to the most often in YouTube analytics.
Yeah. I kind of want to see now.
Savvy, if that makes sense.
But so anyway, like what happened is I made a couple of rants about the new Powerpuff Girls reboot, and Neros made like 2 response videos stating why I was wrong, and then at the very end of the video he animated my character, well me, Pan Pizza, getting my head chopped off by his Reaper OC, Neros, that's him. It's not his OC, it's him.
It's me right now.
I'll link both of them in the description.
Some of the highlights of this podcast are Neros literally pulling a
Watch your profanity.
and explaining his stance on curse words.
So, do you consider what you do constructive criticism?
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, I do, but do other people?
I consider it more cunt-destructive criticism.
Watch the language.
Yeah.
You have an issue with language, but you're okay with murder?
Yeah. I notice whenever you're doing your videos, like, you're okay with chopping people's heads off, like showing the blood and stuff, but like when you swear, you always have like this epic guitar riff, like, what the? What's your reason for censoring your own language?
So that it can look like I can swear.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense, I think.
What, are you like not allowed to swear in your house?
No, I have my own.
You're not good
This
at
might sound weird to you, but I have my own set of morals, and personally, I just don't swear.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
That makes sense, yeah.
Oh no, he's like Predator. He has a code of honor.
I can make it look like I can swear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wait.
Just add a guitar riff over a regular word, and instantly it becomes a curse word.
Or him explaining some of the other people he's going to target, and the general discourse about reviews and subjectivity versus objectivity.
Fuck up! And then, nothing happened. Nothing came of it.
Nuros, you like it when cartoons ham-fist morals, right? With the new Powerpuff Girls
No,
reboot?
not ham-fist. The thing is, I figured you were going to bring that up.
Yeah.
The thing is, if they put in a moral, it depends on how they display it, and it also depends if the character learns it and not just another character just tells them the moral and they act like they learned it. Powerpuff Girls does it pretty good most of the time. I'm willing to bet at some point there will be an episode or two that won't do it so well, but so far it's doing good. That's all I'm going to say about it.
I'm just saying, if that was the moral they're trying to convey, doesn't necessarily mean it's a good moral.
That's a good point.
It's kind of a broad moral.
Wait, you're saying that's a bad moral?
No, broad. It's kind of vague. It's like you're going, but why just say Mexicans when I say don't trust freaking drug dealers?
Wait. Are you implying that all Mexicans are drug dealers?
Yeah, what the fuck, Neros?
Or all drug dealers are Mexicans?
No.
Yeah, there's some black drug dealers too, Neros. You gotta understand that.
I did not know. I was not drug dealer savvy. Thank you for correcting me.
Yes. My uncle was a drug dealer.
Really?
Yeah. He's dead now.
Okay, but like I said earlier, I just express an unpopular opinion or look into an online character. So, top of my list, there's JonTron. I got suggested Jaltoid.
What they do to
And
you?
just so you know, I'm not saying these people are bad. I'm not saying they suck. There's just certain things about them that could be better, and I suppose you could look at it as constructive criticism.
By cutting their heads off.
Right.
Well, at the end,
next lives.
they might not get their heads cut off. Well, maybe JonTron, but Jaltoid probably not. They're all right.
I was saying, you better not be talking shit about Joltoid and the buddies.
Of course.
So what did they do exactly that's so wrong?
Yeah. What's wrong with Joltoid?
I don't think I'm allowed to disclose that.
Oh, you're under contract or what?
No.
He's got to save it for his videos,
Oh,
you know?
okay, I see.
Or this really bizarre interaction about movies not being real and them, in fact, having people on screen as actors and not characters.
Well, about in regards to the film, like how you go to film school and it changes your perspective on filming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I also went to a film school for that, and yeah, it did. And for a while, I couldn't exactly watch a live-action film without realizing, you know, they're just actors. They don't really mean these things they're saying. But then later on, I got,
they're actors.
You know, my mindset. Yeah.
Nero's no longer part of the Matrix.
Whoa. Whoa.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did you not know that?
The fuck? Those were actors? They were...
They also debate more about the Powerpuff Girls reboot. But again, I'll be real, it's mostly a back and forth on the same points you've already heard at this point. Ham Pizza and Co. think the show's shit, Neros thinks it's good, no one really budges at all. Though I will say that I kinda wish Neros Q was given more time to talk, present his points, or that at the very least more questions about him and his life and his opinions on maybe other cartoons and shows were actually asked of him during this podcast. Since most of the podcast, they kind of just pretend he's not there, it feels like, and Neros just kind of falls into the background for the vast majority of it, ominously standing there, ready to strike, ready to kill. I also personally feel Pan Pizza was a bit too aggressive at times. I mean, to be fair, Neros did literally kill him in his videos, but I feel like you gotta roll with the punches. That's pretty fucking funny. If it wasn't, I don't think you'd invite him on the podcast. And there are definitely times that Rebeltaxi came off a bit too salty for what really could have been a much more funny and informative interaction. Though by podcast's end, he does ask if Neros has any closing thoughts, and Nero says who his next target of execution shall be, and then warns the show's hosts that they will all soon too be dead for the sins that they have committed, with him being a bit more lighthearted here.
Next one is gonna be Pie Guy Rules.
What the? What do you do to you?
Pie Guy Rules.
I just disagree with a certain video he put out. That does not have anything to do with Powerpuff Girls. I'm also Neros Q, but before we really end, I got one more thing I want to say to all of you.
What does the Q stand for?
Q. I suppose I could grant you that last request.
Oh no.
Q stands for...
Quagmire?
That's Quake.
Yes.
Quake 3.
What did you mean by last request, though? What was that about?
Yeah. What the fuck?
Well, you see, while we were doing this podcast, I also looked into the backgrounds of you guys and counted up all your previous sins.
Oh no, I'm fucked.
Oh boy. Now, Pan, I shouldn't have to go into this, but I'll just name you one, like how you stole from those Girl Scouts last Sunday.
Uh-oh, hot dog.
Pan, what the fuck?
Look, it's totally normal.
Steph, you didn't flush that toilet.
Oh. Steph.
What?
Steph, and it was in a public bathroom too, you fucking asshat.
Whoa, that's gross, man. You should.
How could you? No.
Maybe he was busy and he forgot. I mean, that's okay.
What about?
Oh God, I don't want to get into Nolan's.
Yeah.
Just so you know, I'm sending Zeros right now to kill all of you.
Who the fuck is Zeros?
His friend.
All right.
You'll see.
And then, what about Jim?
Oh, Jim's okay.
Oh.
Now, interestingly enough, even though things seem to kind of end on a nice note, Neros Q notes in an update post in the description of the second Rebeltaxi video that, quote, "While the points presented in this video are still accurate, this episode will not be referenced in any further Neros Q material. This is to honor the subject's creator's wishes to not be involved with Neros Q for the rest of the show's run. Effectively, this episode can be considered non-canon," unquote, suggesting that Pan wanted nothing more to do with this guy. But regardless, after another couple of weeks, Neros would finally move on to a new subject matter, a new soul to reap, just as he promised on Pie Guy Rules.
Let's see here. Pie Guy Rules. He's a commentator and reviewer on YouTube, in case you didn't know. He likes to make videos with his disembodied head talking about shows he likes and shows that he dislikes. While I don't agree with everything he says, I can see he puts a good amount of effort into his arguments. Speaking of which, this one in particular, I have some issues with.
Nevertheless, this video can pretty much be broken into Pie Guy thinks when people disregard criticism with, well, if you don't like it, don't watch it, it's a bad argument and kind of annoying. While Neros says that, well, when people keep criticizing a show you really enjoy and won't shut up, that they're being really annoying, and he'd rather just tell them to not watch the show. One of them's coming from a place of, I want to still talk about shit I don't like, and the other side's coming from a place of, I don't want to fucking hear it. But the thing is, this whole thing kind of falls apart for our Dark Lord Neros, unfortunately, because by his own argument, he really shouldn't be making this video, since if he doesn't like Pie Guy or Rebeltaxi's videos for that matter, then he should just stop watching them. The I don't want to hear it statement only really applies if you legit don't care, and if nothing else, Neros clearly does care, enough so to even give divine judgment through animation. Neros also has a full-on sin counter a la CinemaSins from this video forward, and if the person says something he agrees with, he will even be so merciful enough to take sins away.
Look, I'm not here to tell you what to do, I'm just here to explain why I feel this argument is illogical.
Thanks for saying that.
If you disagree with me and you think this argument is logical, again, that's totally up to your perspective.
Oh wow, that's also kind of nice.
And for a change, Pie Guy didn't have enough to actually qualify him for execution, which is apparently 13 sins according to Neros, but did get enough for Zeros, his assistant or something like that, to eject him into a portal or something.
Zeros wins.
Pie Guy would end up responding pretty positively to this video, by the way. I guess he was, since he was spared after all. Which then leads into this scene.
Something smells pretty good. Hey, Zeros, did you just bake something?
Oh, you looked a little hungry. So I thought I'd bake you some delicious pie. My cute, strong muffin.
That sounds so nice. Oh, thanks. So, what flavor is it?
Strawberry!
Holy!
Yes, you saw that right, ladies and gentlemen. Nuros Q now has an anime waifu in the form of Zeros, complete with a panty shot and all. You really can't make this type of stuff up. And speaking of anime, Nero's next target would come August 24th of that same year, the next victim of his divine judgment being Anime America. And in this video, he's actually not doing a takedown of a specific video or argument, but instead the channel of Anime America as a whole, because the Great Reaper of Darkness has deemed that this channel and its creators are lazy as frick and not putting in enough effort into their content. Or to put it another way, he's saying they're making anime slop.
Hi there. So I assume we all know what anime is, right? Now, how about Anime America? Thought that was actually gonna get a bigger response. Oh well. Well, for those that don't know, I'll explain. These guys review various shows that they deem anime and make their own top 10 lists of anime characters, songs, and so on. If you didn't already guess, they're all about the anime culture. You know, the style of animation and storytelling that originated in the great eastern country known as Japan. Top 10 lists. Yeah, they can be pretty great, but your top 10 lists, yeah, those can get pretty boring and can really drone on and on and on and on and on and oh my god. I could paint a freaking Van Gogh with my scythe faster than these guys can go through an honorable mentions list. You know you don't have to put every unlisted thing in the honorable mentions category, right? Why not just save these for another top 10 video that continues the previous top 10 subject matter? Let's count all these honorable mentions in this top 10, shall we? 31 extra characters? For God's sake, why not just make 3 more crazy anime character top 10s? That took like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. It's like you don't even give a crap about the viewer's attention. Oh, and speaking of not giving a crap, I've realized that sometimes you guys don't put enough effort into making your reviews.
The evil power is gone.
Oh, Ash, thank you.
Thank you, Ash. Who was the one that saved him? Come on! Why does Ash have to be the center of attention all the time? I'm calling translation error here. Translation error!
What? You're not even gonna look it up to see if it was a translation error? You know, you could be blaming the wrong person. Here, I'm gonna look it up. Just as I thought. It's the same piece of dialogue in the original version. So, no, not a translation error.
And many others come from our Facebook followers.
So, you're basically saying that everyone who likes anime has to be your Facebook follower? Wow, now that's just egotistical.
I love how dramatic and semantic this dude can be at times. Maybe I can agree with something he says. Maybe I disagree with what he has to say. It really doesn't matter though, because he will always have some sort of strange angle, some kind of suddenly ultra-aggressive demeanor over something so basic or stupid that I never really know what he's gonna say next or what the tone of what he'll say next will be.
Ignoring the hair, this is how much effort you put into your character designs? Is it meant to be unnerving or something? Her eyes are staring into the dark corners of your insane past. She knows of your sins. She knows their fate is your doing. And yet you sit here making reviews and commentaries. The demon is gone, but it still lives within you. In the shadows of your consciousness. She sees it there, festering in the abyss of your soul. Waiting for the moment when you lose your way. And hoping that this time you'll never come back. Or it's just a lazy design. One or the other. Seriously, I'm sure the only reason this was done was just to make the workload easier on the artist. They only designed half of a character so that they could just copy and paste it as the other half. That's bullcrap, that's like kindergarten level. I will admit, the characters do serve their purpose and they do make the show more watchable, but that's not saying much. They're placeholders, characters that represent the idea of what the speaker looks like and the emotions that they're expressing. But what emotions are we even getting? Shock stare, sad stalker stare, perverted stare, dead stare, dead happy stare, stare. What the fuck are you looking at? These designs are lackluster, especially since it's trying to look like a chibi anime character. And the designs haven't even been updated in 4 years? Look at this! Can't this artist draw some better renditions? What person just stares directly into the camera? That's not tasteful. That's not creative. That's just lazy. You could put practically anything else there. Even a still image like Saberspark, I Hate Everything, or even Pie Guy Rules, and it'll work about the same, or heck, maybe even a little bit better. Sure, they don't have the characters' eyes and mouths move, but at least these characters know the rules of perspective. He's not just staring to the camera, he's glancing at it. He's not limited to one position, he moves. Anyone who's listening might just say, oh, they're not meant to be professional. They have some leeway. Well, that is just insulting them. Really, I believe that no matter who you are, you should always be pushing yourself and your creations to look as best as they can, and to never stop improving. And speaking of something that doesn't improve, yeah, the animation, if you could even call it that, is, well, obviously not that good.
Okay, imagine if you will, I'm walking through JB Hi-Fi and I see all these Pokemon movies.
You're not walking, you're tweening right. Can't you at least make the character go up and down to sort of simulate walking? And this brings up another point. The perspective of these characters is all kinds of butchered. I mean, look at this scene.
Ah, the great outdoors. Doesn't this feel great, Megan?
Why are we here, Robin? There's alligators and shit.
I don't get the feeling that they're facing each other. Heck, I don't even feel like they're in the same area. To me, they're like talking to webcams or something. And if that was the theme of this show, then I guess this would be excusable. But it's not. So yeah, this kind of sucks. Also, no one walks like that. And by that, I mean no one walks sideways.
Oh.
What?
Oh, nothing. Oh, look, out of marshmallows.
Oh, you are? Well then show me! Where are these marshmallows? Why can't we see them?
Be right back.
Why did you run sideways? Oh, for God's sakes, show her at a different angle! Like this! Is that so much to ask?
That's right, Neros Q beats women. Though interestingly enough, after this, Neros goes on to praise Anime America for answering their fan mail, which leads to him going off into a completely different diatribe about how much he hates YouTubers who don't do that.
But if there is one good thing I can say about you guys, it's that at least you answer questions in fan mail. I really hate it when YouTube channels think like those popular kids back in school. How they will only acknowledge and talk to other YouTubers if they're just as big as them, and totally ignore, or even worse, undermine other YouTubers that don't fit their subscriber counts criteria. But that's besides the point.
Regardless though, he then goes on to judge Anime America. She didn't get enough sins to be killed, but she did get enough to be mutilated. You know, some would say that that was kind of a fate worse than death, and it's also finally really hitting me now just how psychotic all this shit actually is. The animation for the judgment scenes, I have to admit, just keeps getting better and better and more detailed, so credit where it's due, though I will say at this point, there really does seem to be a strange juxtaposition going on with these videos. One in part being the fact that Neros feels like he's trying to come across as even-handed, as fair, I suppose. But regardless of how well he does or doesn't manage to do that, none of it matters because at the end of the video, he's gonna have his waifu fucking murder or mutilate you. The best you can get is being tossed into another dimension, I guess. There are times I've watched this dude's videos where I wondered, is this a joke? Is it a parody? A troll, perhaps? And while the possibility can never not be off the table, hell, if you've watched some of my other videos, you would know that sometimes trolls can be just this dedicated. I really don't think that Neros Q is a troll by any means though, which makes this bizarre logic he applies towards how he presents himself versus how he reviews others and ultimately treats them at the end of his videos such a striking irony and bit of hypocrisy. But nevertheless, we continue onward, as by Halloween of 2016, the quake of Neros' mighty scythe striking the land of YouTube could be heard once again. And this time, it would be on YouTuber razorfist.
Happy Halloween to you there. I love this season. I don't know why. Maybe it's the people dressing up in creative costumes, the emphasis on monsters and things that are scary. Or maybe it's because it's actually the first time I get to take Zeros out for trick-or-treating. No, we're not too old for that. Shut up. Well, to celebrate the season, I'd like to share with you this YouTuber that came to my attention. Why? Is he scary? Not really. Does he do anything creepy? No. Is he a monster? Maybe figuratively, but no. I guess the only reason I'm actually talking about him is because he's considered very edgy. Edgy, huh? More like annoying. I mean, do you like ranting and long continuous run-on sentences? Do you like wasting your precious moments of life listening to some jerk-off in sunglasses complain about comics, games, television, or other forms of media that give him the pop-up blood vessel? I didn't think so.
This video is yet again not really about one specific video, but about this dude's content in general, of which Neros goes on to complain about him complaining a lot. And he makes fun of him being edgy, even though, you know, he's literally, anyway, and most of all, how much razorfist uses curse words, which seems to really get under Nero's skin.
Now, I can appreciate cursing when it's used for more of a comedic purpose, like an angry video game nerd, where, yeah, he swears, but it's always when he's playing a game and, you know, he's getting frustrated. It's more of a joke. But when you just bring up cursing out of nowhere, I think it just makes you look more like an immature kid.
Not quite, but it comes with hair.
Now, let's be clear, it's not just any hair, but one specifically from a girl's coin purse.
Whereupon, when something works for 9 tetrillion bundy installments, you elect to leave it the alone!
He just wants you to remember, you can't just leave it alone. No. You need to leave it the alone. Personally, I hate this. I mean, his speech can go from informing to curseful faster than you can say,
God! Speed!
Yeah, sure. Seriously, he curses so often, I might as well just play some rock music whenever he talks. Hey, Zeros.
Huh?
That's enough, sunshine. Thank you.
Oh.
You know, the question does have to be asked at some point. Is Zeros, like, based off of a real girlfriend in Nero's life? Or is, she just like a made-up girlfriend for him in these videos that he gets to show off and call sunshine, and who kills other YouTubers for him and stuff, but doesn't actually exist in reality? Because, well, you know, if it were the latter, that would kind of be, sad. Anyway, Neros also notes how Razorfist apparently talks like a lawyer.
And lastly, Razorfist also talks about gaming news. No, I tell a lie. It's more like he complains about gaming news. I guess there's nothing wrong with that, but it almost seems like he never brings up any good news on video games. Even when he's supposed to be giving praise, it still sounds like he's giving a backhanded insult.
Their Nintendo is and always will be chugging right the along, utterly unconcerned with the petty one-upsmanship of its often distant competition.
Petty one-upsmanship of its distant competition? Who the heck talks like this? Hey, Razorfist, you wanna cut down on that lawyer talk there so we can understand you a bit better? Here, let's see if I can interpret what the heck he was prattling on about. So, roughly translated, you're saying, Nintendo will always bring pathetic but better games than their competition. Okay, either you just really hate video games in general, or you really need to go back to 3rd grade and work on your sentence grammar.
Regardless though, by the end of the video, Razorfist 2 ends up getting mutilated. Now, up until this point, Neros has been on a roll getting these videos out one by one, but after this video, there was suddenly a deafening silence across the land of YouTube. It would seem the Reaper had had his fill. That was until 2 years later, on January 1st of 2019, when Neros returned to judge again, with this time the YouTuber he would be destroying being that of Guru Larry. You know, it feels like we can't go too many episodes of Internet Fables without this guy eventually making a cameo at some point. I swear, he's like that one background character in every show who you always notice after a while because his character design is reused over and over again, but he's never gonna like get a full episode or something. You know what I mean? Anyway, with 2 years having gone by since his last video, many, or at least I, waited with bated breath to see what the next video of his would be. And so, was it worth the wait? Well, the video opens like this.
What the? Oh, dang. So, when I'm in the mood to watch a good old game review or return to some old school video games, one of the shows I like to watch is The Irate Gamer. Yeah, I know what you're thinking. Oh, that ripoff of AVGN? No, that would be the nostalgia.
So I guess he decided to finally just use his real voice, which is a pretty interesting development. But I also must say, the opening with, when I want to watch a game reviewer here on YouTube, I look to the Irate Gamer, is definitely a pretty funny choice and comment, I'll give you that. And he follows that up with this.
Larry made a video titled The Untold Rise and Fall Stories of 3 YouTube Gaming Channels. The first channel he lists is the Irate Gamer. And it seems he can't help but insert his own biased opinions and false facts into the video. So let's see what he has to say about the Irate Gamer. Before we even get to the Irate Gamer, Larry, you don't seem to have a proper representation of yourself. In almost every video, you use this one still image. So what does that even give us to work with? You're a guy that smiles a lot, does lists, and is fat? Don't get mad at me. I have no idea what else you like.
Oh, damn. He goes on to say that this profile picture, this avatar of sorts for Guru Larry, doesn't give enough information about the character that Guru Larry is, which is a pretty interesting critique to have, considering that Guru Larry isn't a fucking character, and is in fact a real person. This for some reason seems to be lost on Nuros Q though, and he goes on to give this analogy to explain what he means by having traits or showcasing something about a character.
An example I like to use to define a character's personality is this. If a young girl would have fallen over, would your character ignore or help her? Would they tell her to be more careful? Would they ask if she's hurt? What else would they say or do for this girl? Keep in mind that there is no wrong answer to this. It doesn't matter if they help her or not, this example just defines the character's personality. But if you can't figure out how a character would respond to a situation like this, then you have neglected to give your character a proper persona, effectively making them more of a robotic tool, which is sadly what you appear to be, Guru Larry.
Which again, I guess this would be something worth noting, and it's not a terrible bit of character writing advice if, you know, Guru Larry was a character. But he's not? Maybe he means, or what he meant to say was that he doesn't get enough of a read of Guru Larry's personality from the videos that he makes themselves. But honestly, who am I to question the Reaper of YouTube himself, you know? Clearly Guru Larry should have just been a more interesting character. Sorry bro, you've been demoted to one-dimensional. Fucking get better writing next time. Anyway, here's a few more select quotes from this video.
Was he any good? Well, he wasn't the best, let's put it at that.
Personally, I wish you said I think he wasn't the best, as that more easily lets the viewer know it's your opinion and not a fact. And on a side note, to people who put a disclaimer in their videos about their statements being opinions, you know that doesn't make everything you say an opinion, right? Sometimes opinions are connected to statements that can be wrong. Like saying birds suck because none of them can fly.
The first part is an opinion, but it's followed by evidence that can be easily proven wrong. If you love something, you should set it free. Now that's an opinion.
Irrelevant references, and hilariously incorrect pronunciations of practically everything that came out of his gob.
Okay, first, anyone can reference whatever they want, as long as it relates to the subject at hand. So let's take a look at that clip you just showed us from the I Rate the 80s episode 10, Color Forms. In this clip, Chris is looking at a 3D Thundercats color form. So how in the world is Snarf popping out not relevant?
But Chris's biggest criticism of all was his penchant to making videos almost identical to that of James Rolfe, aka the angry video game nerd.
You know what really ticks me off about this claim? It ignores all the other obvious ripoffs of the AVGN. What about Kid Icarus, Pro Jared, Peanut Butter Gamer, Brutal Moose, Antude, Space Hamster, or even JonTron? Those guys review both old and new video games, and can express extreme emotions towards said games. I've defended this idea many times now, but just because you can argue that a show might be a ripoff, that doesn't mean it's a bad show.
Once again, Neros Q out here being the strongest and most passionate defender of Chris Boards on planet Earth. You gotta respect the grind. And the best part, by video's end, Neros takes what is clearly a joke from Guru Larry completely seriously. And well, I think I really just need to show you for you to understand just how fucking bonkers this actually is.
So, with all this in hand, how did the R8 gamer become so popular back then? Well, to simply put it, it was indirectly because of the angry video game nerd. YouTube saw how popular James Rolfe was becoming on the site, but their biggest issue with him was his rather colourful choice of language. Sounding familiar, eh?
Wait, you're saying that they wanted to feature Angry Video Game Nerd, but since his show had colorful language, they couldn't, but they chose Irate Gamer to feature because he also had colorful language? That doesn't even make sense!
So, they went looking for a less sweary, more family-friendly alternative.
So now you're saying he doesn't have colorful language? Did you mean to say, I think YouTube wanted to feature someone like the AVGN, but they wanted someone who wasn't as vulgar as him, so instead they went with the Irate Gamer? If that's the case, well, AVGN does force in a lot of swearing, so maybe?
And less sweary was literally YouTube's choice of words too.
What? Sir Edwin YouTube? Founder of YouTube.com? This quote is a blatant lie! Who the frick is Sir Edwin YouTube? The founders of YouTube were Chad Hurley, Jared Karam, and Steve Chen! Larry, you literally made up fake evidence to back up your paper-thin claim? And don't try and say it was a joke. There was no indication that he wasn't serious about that. You sunk so low I bet you could parachute out of a snake's anus! This has got to be one of the worst things you could have done! And yet you want to talk about being lazy?! I lost my mind for too long. Oh no. No, this isn't how you were supposed to. I can't let that thing take control. Not again. Zeros? It happened. I'm fine. Listen, I'm gonna need your help. Yeah, we gotta bring another one back. Hurry, too. He's losing a lot of blood.
Words cannot describe how much I truly love this edgy garbage. What is there even to say at this point? Well, I suppose I could read Guru Larry's response and Neros Q's response in kind. Quote, "Thank God you never saw my crossover of Pan Pizza then. But the reason I only have one image of me is because I wanted the articles and information to be the star of the show, not me. Oh, and the Eric Gamer did respond to my video by sock puppeting his own mother and accusing me of being a Hillary Clinton supporter. To which Neros quotes, but the reason I have only one image of me is because I wanted the articles of information to be the star of the show, not me. Neros, I'm sure you're more comfortable doing your videos like that. However, it still doesn't excuse the fact that up till now you failed to provide a complete personality. More poses would help, or even expressing more emotions than just anger, sarcasm, and occasional quirkiness, especially since I've counted over 43 other people that do the exact same thing here. It'd be nice if next time I see you, you've become a bit more expressive. And hey, if you wanted articles and information to be the star of the show, perhaps it would have been better if you didn't try to include a character, or an avatar as others like to call it, in your videos, and instead approach topics in a more copious and journalistic manner. But I'm sure you wanted something to take all the credit for saying the dialogue in your videos, so you have to accept what comes with the territory of producing a character. Most likely, you'll continue to challenge these ideas, and not heed Neros' advice, at least for the time being. So in that regard, I'll leave you with this quote from Neros. Neros, continuing to complain and argue with each other is pointless, and will lead to an endless loop. You gotta move on from the smaller fragments that hurt and focus on the bigger picture. Unquote. I'm gonna be real with you guys, I think there might be something wrong with Neros. It seems that this response kind of confused Guru Larry as well, as he responded with, quote, "I'm not quite sure what you're getting at. My character and personality is my voice. I'm also not a reply channel, more retrospective / documentary. You don't see the Discovery Channel having a cartoon avatar pulling silly faces in the corner of the screen. The only time I ever include a character is in the intro when the title comes on screen." Unquote. Also note that in that message Neros wrote, when he writes Neros at the start of his sentence, he's apparently trying to distinguish himself as a person from the character Neros, and thus gives a quote from Neros to Guru Larry, even though he himself is just Neros. I'm sorry to tell all you Nuros Q stans out there, but I don't think our champ's gonna make it. And maybe that's why the next video he would release would end up being his last. A video on the mysterious Mr. Enter, who some of you might know as the guy who complained about that Turning Red movie not having 9/11 in it, or reviewing cartoons and SpongeBob and stuff, I suppose. Regardless though, this would end up being Neros' shortest video, and yet would so too be the most powerful of them all, but certainly not for anything he says about Mr. Enter, if I'm gonna be real, which can kind of be summed up by these quick few clips.
In the mood for a monotone reviewer who's more depressed and humorless than a used whoopee cushion? Yeah, me too. And so enters the mysterious Mr. Enter, another channel that reviews mostly cartoons and TV shows. Don't we have enough already? Well, I guess it's time to enter the world of sarcastic remarks and monotone jokes. To start with, Mr. Enter, everything you say sounds so candid and emotionless.
But this is a safe place here. You can tell me in confidence. I'm not gonna laugh. No matter how awfully bad your name is, you can tell me.
Most of these jokes are awfully bad. Seriously, why do you sound so depressed? Lighten up. I know a few of these shows stink worse than rotten eggs, but you don't have to sound so dismal about it. Give some energy. Shows you have a passion for critiquing these shows. Speaking of things that go on for too long, sometimes you just take way too long to explain your thoughts. Like in this video where you actually use up 5 minutes over explaining the flaws of Family Guy. The video's just a review on one episode! Overall though, that's actually all the negative things I have to say about you. Aside from those blemishing details, you have some commendable features that I actually wish more reviewers had.
Like when others are telling you something is going to be bad, or that you should hate it, you say you're still gonna give it a chance. I also appreciate your views on morals in cartoons and how media can affect the viewer. While I may disagree with some of your claims, I can at least respect your intentions with them. You're not just bringing up issues you have with shows and giving out lame excuses for why you are correct. You're providing some good evidence and info to back up your criticism. If you could learn to be more expressive and not treat every video as a beige lesson plan for the day, you'd have a very interesting and compelling series. Well now, it's time for your judgment.
He doesn't even kill him, because of all the people he has covered, Mr. Enter seems to be the least sinful by his judgment, and is in fact not slain but just simply ejected out of the show. But that, my friends, was simply just the preface. Before we get into the real reason, this is the best video Neros Q has ever made. The reason I wanted to cover this guy to begin with, these next 3 minutes of animation that starts off like this.
It pains me to look at you.
You're terrible.
Go back home. Nobody cares about you.
Edgy boy.
Huh? Zeros, what are you doing up? For me? Oh, you want me to get some sleep? I will. I was just busy thinking.
Oh.
I wonder if what I'm doing is right.
So firstly, I gotta say that the animation isn't bad here. There's an interesting kind of bounce effect to all the characters, though the proportions are definitely a bit strange. That being said, I can't believe after just 7 videos that we are already at a point where our Dark Lord, our evil edgelord, the Reaper of YouTube himself, is here thinking about all the mean things people have said to him up to this point, and he even seems to be stress-scratching his hand, or something like that. But then, we move on into him questioning if doing this channel's mission to, critique and judge YouTubers if it's really the right thing to do or not.
It seems that no matter what I say, no one will listen. They'd either turn away and blind themselves to the help of others. If my words won't reach, maybe I should just give up. Huh? You're right. I just need to help others in my own way.
Okay, dog, that is enough! You are not gonna try and have this emotional scene where you reflect on your videos and the actions you've taken up to this point and try to have the audience relate to you and feel bad for you while having this whole ass Tamer's character over here. Mind you, I think at this point I should note that Neros also had a deviantart and would often post his art there, which mostly consisted of art of his character and notably Zeros. And in particular, I just wanted to showcase this picture he drew of her as a body pillow. He also had this description to go alongside it. I wanted to make a newer version of Zero's body pillow image that was more enticing and amorous. Bro cannot hide it any longer. He is in fact an anime gooner and just simply could not control himself. I'll give him this. If this were all a parody, if this were all a troll, this would be literally comedic gold. But the fact that it seems to be 100% legitimate and genuine actually makes it like even more than comedy gold. It's like comedy diamond right now, especially with what comes next in the video.
They have to know the gravity of their actions, even if I have to use force. In that regard, I might be the only one who can change these creators for the better. But maybe being a reviewer isn't what I have to do. There must be another way to make the city more open, more modest. I'll never stop working towards that goal. After all, I promised you a world of kindness. And I won't go back on that.
Listen to me. This dude, in the span of like 30 seconds, said the following things: that maybe he is the only one that can fix this world and make these YouTubers do better, that he will judge them, meaning killing them if he has to create a more open yet modest world, a world of kindness through judgment, I guess, all for the sake of keeping a promise to his imaginary anime waifu, who's there to comfort him and give him encouragement to continue the good fight against these random-ass YouTubers. It's just too perfect, you know? I kneel before the great Neros Quake. He is truly too funny to not love at some point. Not to mention, I like the implication that in order to save the world and make it a better place, what you need to do is murder a bunch of YouTubers. In particular, mostly cartoon reviewers. Honestly, you know, he makes a pretty compelling...
How about some TV?
I can find beauty in unexpected places.
World famous burgers.
I'd like to start off by saying
News.
I love you and
I
everything.
know what's going
you do.
on.
For my question, I'd like some advice. I know you're watching me and everyone else fap, and I'd just like to know if I'm doing it right and how I stack up against the other guys.
On second thought,
Elephants actually started painting
Elephants.
in the 1930s.
Nice.
Bro, you're not fooling anyone pretending to be modest or embarrassed by this stuff at this point. But regardless, the whole thing ends on Neros falling asleep on the couch, ending this channel, sadly. Because yeah, after this, Neros pretty much stopped making videos entirely. He teased about making more, and even showed off more of his art for a time. And yet, despite his proclamations at the end of the video, Neros was gone. Largely forgotten and lost to the sands of time as a obscure little YouTuber who stirred up a bit of trouble in certain communities. And that's how it was for 5 long years. Until a few weeks ago, just when the world had forgotten there was an edgelord that was not finished with his judgment. The sound of a great scythe could be heard once again, casting a looming shadow over the lands. And by that I mean he made a community post a few weeks ago stating the following. Quote, "Slight update. Yeah, it's been a while since a new episode of Nuros Q animation, especially the kind of work I put into this. Takes time, effort, and focus. Too much ungodly time. A lot of people don't get that. Even worse, they don't care either. That apathy is part of why I held off for so long. Not the only reason. Real life's thrown more at me than most would bother to understand. Truth is, feedback is rare. Real feedback. Not the empty noise from haters or the occasional good job. I'm talking about honest engagement. The kind that analyzes the details and notices how much hard work we're into a project. That's the kind that pushes you forward. Without it, creating feels like pleading to the void. I do want to finish Season 1. That hasn't changed. But over the years, I've revisited the channels I critiqued. Pie Guy, Razorfist, Guru Larry, Mr. Enter, even Anime America. All of them. And you know what? They ignored everything. Every word. Every point I made. I didn't create Neros Q to just throw punches. I wanted to challenge them. To make them better. Looking back, yeah. There's a lot of things I wish I had done differently. Neros Q was experimental, it was raw, and it was real. Over time, I've realized that a lot of people who hate watch the show are just toxic. Not just online, in real life too. They reject logic, they deny self-reflection, and they laugh at growth. I don't engage with them anymore. That's one of the first things Neros Q taught me. Cut the dead weight. And honestly, the more I looked at the creators I critiqued, the more I saw it clearly. They lost. They once dreamed of big things, becoming directors, making big budget shows, developing video games. And now, they're clinging to YouTube like it's the only place they exist. Doug Walker, James Rolfe, pioneers once, now just ghosts of who they could have been. In another 10 years, they'll still be on YouTube, doing the exact same thing. That scares me. I never wanted to be a YouTuber. That was never the dream. I aimed for higher, and I still do. So no, I won't let myself end up like them. I'll be steering Neros Q in a slightly new direction with the remaining episodes. The same episodes will be made, with some of the same talking points, but I'm going to change some story elements. Now, maybe you don't care about my personal life or my art. There. So let's get to what matters. Yes, I still plan to finish Neros Q. No, I don't know exactly when. Yes, I will make an announcement when the next episode is ready. And I'm not doing an episode on VivziePop anymore. Others already exposed her flaws, and frankly, the way she lashed out at critics speaks for itself. I have got nothing to add. Unquote. Which, I've gotta say, is quite the way to come back. I legitimately thought Neros Q was never ever going to come back. It felt like a funny little channel from a different time on this platform and just in general. So seeing him not only come back, but promise to come back even harder and kind of double and triple down on everything he said and did, it's pretty shocking. I'm not sure what he's referring to, obviously, with stuff in his personal life, but whatever it is, I hope that he's dealing with it okay. So, while this post may not be a new video yet, there is hope, and perhaps fear again, that Neros Q shall rise once more. And I hope he does. For many of you, I know you're not likely to have heard of this fella until you watch this video. He only ever really managed to get close to 2K subs here on YouTube, and despite stirring up some pots in the YouTube community, it was mostly the rebeltaxi community that gave him any kind of time of day, outside of a comment or two, with others like Anime America, razorfist, and Mr. Enter never even responding to his videos to my knowledge. Which is saying something, because regardless of what you think of it, a commentary YouTuber having a gimmick of literally, like, killing the creator or subject matter of the video is legitimately, if nothing else, very attention-grabbing. But that being said, were his videos and critiques good? Maybe not so much. Did I agree with his points? Not very often, no. Is animating your busty anime waifu murdering YouTubers you don't like or mildly disagree with a bit, crazy? Slightly psychotic? Perhaps even rather fucking weird, all things considered. Sure, and above all else, was it necessary? Certainly not, but on the other hand, was it entertaining and funny? It sure was. Nuros Q was a YouTuber I personally enjoyed following quietly for years, and I had planned to talk about on the channel for some time, and I figured with him teasing coming back, what better time to make this video than now, so that some of you may go and look at his channel and prepare for when he eventually, hopefully, makes his full return, and you can all give praise to the edgelord himself. After all, I think it's about time YouTube got the Grim Reaper it so desperately deserves again. May this land be toiled of the filth and slop that remains here. Pan pizza, more like pants full of shit. Pie Guy rules, more like Dead Channel. Anime America, more like Asime Antarctica. Razor Fist, more like Groomer Fist. Guru Larry's Fact Hunt, more like Guru Larry Fact Cunt. The time has come, Nero's Quake, for the Lord of Death alongside his anime waifu to cast judgment upon all those who dare to say something that he disagrees with, all who he deems lazy, sloppy, or crude, to make the world you oh so wish for. And even if I should have to fall victim to his judgment, who am I to question? For whom the bell tolls.